Hello there. Hope you all are good today. This is our weekly Ask Me Anything marketing mastery session. So, this is meant to be a led and interactive experience. So, if you have any questions, please feel free to just put them into the chat and we'll answer them as we get to them. What I usually do is I start off with just explaining one of the general things we have going on within Conversion Pro, just to kind of get the ball rolling. So if you all have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand, so to speak, and throw something into the chat. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and start over here in the dashboard. So there seems to be some confusion about conversations. So I just want to talk a little bit about that in terms of how these conversations work. Okay. So if you go into the Conversations tab, you'll notice that there are two sections here. There's an unread section, and then there's also a recent section. The recent has everything that's been going on in the past, and the unread section has if there's anything that you've had that has come in since you've looked at it last. Also, everything that's in the Conversations tab will also show up. Oh, I apologize for. Let me just go ahead and throw that screen up there. All right. Okay. Let's start over. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So, Conversations tab, there are essentially two. In the Conversations tab, there are essentially two pieces that make it fairly easy to interact in this level. One of them is the unread, which will have everything that's come in that you have not yet looked at or marked as read. And then the next one is the Recents tab. Now, the thing about all of these conversations is they show up really in two different places. They show up both in this Conversations tab, but also in the contacts. So if I go to the contacts and go to this test, then we'll also see the conversations here. So whenever you do anything in or out of Conversion Pro, either on the web or on the app, then what happens is that it'll show up here. That's an important distinction, because if you do things just on your phone in your regular email apps or your regular texting or things like that, it will not show up here. So we'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. Also, from here within the tab, you're also able to do things like add notes and things like that. But let's just say what actually shows up in the conversations. In the conversation actually is everything that you've sent to this person. It can also include things that they received because of a campaign. So if you've done an email blast or things like that, it will also show up in here. If they booked an appointment, also show up in here. It's designed to pretty much catch everything that you've specifically sent to that person or what they've sent in response. So that all shows up here in the Conversations tab. Now, the cool thing is that you can just go direct to the person's actual contact record and you can add notes. So if you want to, let's go ahead and make the screen a little bit bigger here. So we can add a new one and we can just enter a note saying it's a test. Is a hot lead. We can save that, and now all of a sudden it's in the notes record. You can see that. We can also keep track of from this conversation from within here. So like, let's say somebody sends you an email and says, I need to see a listing agreement as an example. Well, you can actually set task for yourself that'll automatically be put here. So we can say like, okay, task title, send listing agreement. And then any more details we want in here, we can do that. And then we can basically just go from there and say like, okay, send listing agreement, property, put in a property note is at 123 Maple. And you can assign it to any user you want at this point. So this is a good place to use assistants or ISAs or things like that. You can also then just say save. And now what you have is you have a record of the tasks you want to complete within this particular person's contact record. Also, there's a way to look at everything in more than one way. Obviously, going through all the contacts and seeing all the tasks and things like that can be a little bit daunting. So you can also go in through your dashboard and you'll see all your tasks also show up here in the lower right hand corner of your dashboard. So it's a fairly robust system keeping track of those people you're staying in contact with, either with notes or with tasks and conversations. So that's a real brief overview on the conversations tab. Does everybody have any questions about conversations or tasks? Or if you're ready for me to move on, just go ahead and hit a 1 into the chat. Or if you have any other questions, now would be a great time to enter them. Okay, so let's move on from this into, again, going over a couple things in the settings that in our support calls and things like that, there seems to be a little bit of confusion about. So underneath our settings, we have these things that are also part of the setup. So if you've done your onboarding, these should be complete. Now you will notice that I've already have from the onboarding exercise, I already have added this domain pages.doesn't have to be that hard.com. We do have some questions about people asking if we can add additional domains. The answer to that question is yes. You can actually put as many domains under here as you possibly could want. So a reason why you might want to have additional domains is if you have your business somehow divided between how you deal with some things versus another, or if you have your group page versus your personal page, that sort of thing. And you can always add a new domain, and then it will show up in your domain dropdown. And each one of these will have a default page that they go to. So you can actually determine a different default page for each one, or actually you could do the same default page for both of them if you would like. So it's very similar in setup. So if you just watch your onboarding video, you can see how to set those up. The other question we've had is in regards to email services. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and go, just as a brief refresher, go back to our website section and talk about these funnel pages. So inside these funnel pages, there's something you have to do in order for it to be visible to the public or to people that you're sending a link to, and that is to go ahead and assign the domain. So the way you do that is you select the funnel that you're looking for, and then go into domains, and it says select domain for funnel. You can see that it's already populated to that. If I did have additional domains, it would show up here, so I could pick whichever one I want to do this at. So, and then that is how you quote unquote turn on the domain. Then you always make sure when you make a change that you save it. Now, the other part of these funnels is that they are designed, several of them are designed so that they have an active split test. What happens is over time, you would actually have stats available about the effectiveness of each one. Okay, so one of the things that will happen is you'll see that like you may have a version on one versus the other, and then you can just use a slider to send more back and forth depending on what you want to do, depending on the volume and things like that. So no, Shane, actually the funnels don't have the domains already assigned. That is something you have to do by hand. So again, you just go to settings and then the assign the domain here, and then make sure you save it. Then it's ready and raring to go. Okay, and then the you can tell that it's been done. So you have this full email or this full web address that you can then use for any outreach you do, social media, things like that. Okay, is that clear? All right, so the next prospect that we have is our email domains. So again, if we go back to settings, one of the things is that if, for example, you have, let's say you have a texting notification or things like that, are you responsible for creating the domains? Yes, you do create the domains. There are instructions for that in the onboarding videos, Shane. So you basically use a subdomain of an existing website. So like, for example, let me go ahead and go back to here. You'll notice that this is pages. It doesn't have to be that hard.com. I already had the domain. It doesn't have to be that hard.com. I add a subdomain here for pages, and then that is what I'm putting all of the funnels and everything like that into that subdomain. Is that the domain I need to use to your Facebook? Yes. So the question is that the domain I need to use so my Facebook ads go to Conversion Pro? Yes, there are two different ways that you can send leads into Conversion Pro. One of them is you can run ads to the funnel page. So you would just go to under your Facebook, it would be the target would be web traffic, and then you would send them to whichever funnel you want to actually advertise to. So if you want to use this, why you should get home inspection. So if you wanted to push ads and content towards that home inspection, then what you could do is just go to this page, make sure that in settings that your domain is all set up. And then in the first page you get to, you'll see that there is this domain. All you have to do now is just click on this, copy it, and then make that the website that you're sending the traffic to within Facebook. Okay. The other option that you have is that you can actually send people via a lead system also. So what we can do is I can create a knowledge base article and setting it up either through Zapier, where you create very similar to other systems where it pulls in the lead ad from Facebook. And then what I can do is I can add them to I can start them on the automation for that particular lead as they come in at that workflow. Okay. So, what I'll do is I'll make sure that I create a knowledge base article or talk about this next week, because what we need to do is go into Zapier, and then with Zapier, it tells you to activate a workflow. So what you would do is just select the workflow within the screen, and then people that do the lead ads and submit will automatically get put into this lead workflow. They won't have to do the form at all. Okay. Need that concept Zapier. Okay. Tell you what, Beverly, let me go ahead and make a note here real quick so then I can make sure I do that. And I'll send you a copy of the link. I'll go ahead and make a knowledge base article. Base article and setting up Zapier, publish, and send to Beverly. Okay. And then, hold on here. Let me just get my windows back. Okay. Also use Facebook lead form drop in the Conversion Pro would not be. Yes, that's true. The other way that we would go about doing that is to, if we are in Launchpad. So Shane asked about doing it through the system and not through Zapier. So what you have to do is you have to go down here to settings. Yes, I could. So if you just drop something in the chat, then I can make sure that okay, it says Shane and Todd and Beverly. If you'd like, I can send that to all of you, but we'll show up in the knowledge base. Just make a note here, make sure. Send to Beverly, Shane, Todd. Okay. Okay, so my next bit here is to show you that the first thing you do is under integrations. So what you would do is you would set this up so that you are, so you have things connected, okay? And then you can see here, you can select an ad account, okay? And it's connected, okay? So cancel. So you want to make sure that you have this ad account selected, all right? And then, okay, what you do from here, so we're going to do a little bit of an exploratory, is then what we want to do is we want to go back to our workflows. Okay, workflows are found under automation. Okay, now full disclosure, this may not, unfortunately, no, this isn't designed for two-way audible communication chain, sorry. So the next part is that we would go to the workflow that you want to add, and you can go to this. Now you see how this thing says form the 3 things before you sell. So let's say it was talking about that. All we have to do is add a new workflow trigger. Okay. And you can see that one of my options is Facebook lead form submitted. Okay. Now this is when you use your filters. Okay. So the filter is inform, and then unfortunately, you would have to, if you had, well, I don't have this on my business account, but when you go to here, then what you'd have is you'd have a list of all the forms within the ad account. And so I'd encourage you to, I know that in the past we've done something where we've done like a catch-all where it's been like any form or things like that. You should really make sure that you're sending the right form to the right place. So I would title the lead form that you create with the name of the lead ad or with the name of with the actual funnel that you want to create. So that's what I would do, is I would actually send them to that particular form. So in this case, I would name the form based on what the ad or the funnel is about. And then I can just save the trigger. It probably will say no, but let me just go ahead and trash that so it'll do it. And then you'll notice up here, what we have is we have 2 triggers now. We have the form that we have on the website, and then we also have the lead form submitted from within your ad account. So the main steps here, in case you missed it, is to make sure that you have an integration, that you are logged into your business.facebook.com account before you do this. So that way it's much smoother this way. And then you add the integration to Facebook. You select the proper ad account, and then that ad account will have all the lead forms in it that will allow you to map it to a particular filter or to a particular funnel page. So this way, both of these triggers will work simultaneously. Okay, and then what will happen is that it will take them through and put them through the proper email sequence to give them what they're looking for. Okay, and then it'll also then take it from there to the other funnels within the workflows that will actually just continue from that point. So as we have heard before, you have different sections of workflows that everybody goes through. They'll still continue on from this particular funnel over to what we have in our prospect follow-up workflows. And we have basically the 2 phases: the direct calls to action to continue to try to get them to book an appointment or to reach out to you in person. And then we have the story-based one that, again, is talking about your expertise and helping you to establish the expertise. So does everybody understand what we just talked about, or are we all just waiting for the video to be released? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the step just one more time just to make sure we all understand. Okay, so our first step here is video will be helpful. So just remember, we go from settings. We need to set this up as an integration first with Facebook. And then the main thing is, once you're set up in Facebook, you need to select your ad account, and make sure that you're connected. And also select a Facebook page. That'd also be good. And then at that point, you're able to use the lead ads within the workflow. So you set up here under integrations, and then we just go back into the workflows under automation. We choose the proper one. Just make sure that your lead ads have the lead forms that are labeled. I would label them unique for each funnel, just to make sure that there's no confusion. And then all we have to do is add a new workflow trigger, do a search for Facebook, and then make sure you add the filter. if all you do is lead form submitted, every single lead form that comes in through your ad account will automatically get put into the same funnel, which is probably not what you're looking for. So we want to make sure we use the funnel, the filter, and we go inform, and then we pick the one that's here. These will populate as long as your integration is set up. I just don't happen to have any ad accounts in that particular integration. So then we save the trigger, and then we save here to make sure that it keeps. And then from that point on, everything that comes in either through your lead ad form or through the form on your website all goes into here and delivers the same deliverable and sends them out there. Okay. So do we have any more questions? Do we have anything we need to cover today? My plan was to go from here into a different section, but if you guys have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. But if you're ready for me to move on, just stick a 1 in the chat box. Okay. So the next thing we want to talk about here is, and I know from time to time that we've encouraged you guys to send out emails and kind of keep your list active. So what we're going to do right now is talk about how to take care of those e-blasts. Okay, there's a very simple e-blast tool at work here in the system. It's under the marketing tab here on the left-hand side. And then what we can do is we can create templates, we can create campaigns. The place where we want to live, the first thing we can do is we can create a template. Okay, and so you can create a new email template and just do a simple design editor. And then here you can just start from scratch, and then we can go ahead and just add. Again, we like to keep these things somewhat simple. Okay. So what I want to do is just go ahead and add it here. And we'll just do a image. Let's see here. What can we use? Brand assets. Okay. Let's use a logo here. All right. So that's going to be here. Go ahead and check this. And then we can just add in our text or add in our layout. So the way this works is that you have the layout first, typically a 1-column sort of deal, and then we can just drop content into here. So you can do 1, 2, you can even change the layouts as you go. So like you can change it to this, do whatever, add padding, do whatever you're looking to do. And then what we can do is we can add in whatever it is we're looking for. So here, the text always comes out with the heading, so we can call this a new market report. We can leave this blank if we're going to write this all, fresh. And then under here, we can add in just about anything, but let's just say you have a short video that you can add there. Okay. So this will create a new template. So like what you can do is you can call it the market report template. Okay, and then we can save it. Okay, so once we're done with that, so we've created the template. I'd encourage you to create the template first, just however you want to lay it out, because that'll save you considerable time later. So let's go back to here. So you have a listing of all your templates under templates, and then we also can do a campaign. Okay, so if you'll look, we already have some things in there, but let's go ahead and just add in we're going to create a new campaign here. Okay, now as you can see, as soon as you create a new campaign, you can choose a template that's already there. I would also encourage you to change the title here to something that makes sense. So we're going to call this the Market Report Weekly Email. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and use the market report template that we just used. checkbox. All right, so now what we can do is we can go into here, we can change the video that's being used here. We can also change the, if we want to use like YouTube, it'll also let us use Vimeo or Wistia. And then we go from there to the video URL, and this would be a YouTube video link. So let's just go to YouTube and look for something here real quick. I'm just going to go, this is the one I kind of use for everything. All right, so we just get the link from it. Okay, and then we go back to here, and I can just do this, and this is the video that'll show up. Obviously, these are usually meant to be videos of you talking, or you talking maybe a brief summaries of the market report. And then here, I can just add text, you know, home values are skyrocketing, et cetera, et cetera. The other thing you can do is if you want to create something that has like your, let's say it has the current interest rates or the number of homes for sale or something like that, that can be in your template and it'll just be there. Then what we can do is from here is we can save it, and then we can go to send or schedule. And the first thing we're going to want to decide if we want to send it immediately or schedule ahead. You can schedule it several days ahead, or if you want to just schedule it for, you know, like the following Monday or something like that, that would be here. The day and time. It'll tell you what your time zone is, how to relate to that. And so I can go ahead and schedule it for, you know, for let's say Monday at 10 a.m. And then from email, I'll just go ahead and use whichever email that you want. Let's just go ahead and do Jeb at to be that hard.com. And then from name, Jeb Blann, you can just type in whatever what you want here. Email subject line is, it can be market report, say 3, when we schedule this, 3/14/2023. And then the other thing you can do is you can say something here. We encourage you to use this preview text because that greatly increases your open rate. So look inside for the latest information. Sorry, can't type today, about your local market, or something like that, something engaging. Then in recipients, you can either choose to go to certain contacts by search, or if you've created a smart list, or if you've tagged them in. So if I want to do by tag, then I can just say, okay, Market Insights report active. I can send it to those people. And then I can say also that I only want to send a contact currently linked with the tag. And then I can say also include the ones that are coming after. So like if I'm scheduling this way in advance, like a couple of weeks, more people may get added to that tag in the meantime. This actually will let you limit if those new people are coming onto here or if they are also including or not. So only send the tags currently linked. That means everybody that currently has the tag will get put into the recipients. Or if you say, yes, include them, then it'll be everybody that has that tag at that time. So those are the two distinctions there. I would encourage you to say, yes, include them, and then I can say schedule. So it's gone through and it's done that. Now all we have to do is take a look here. You'll see that this starts to say that it's scheduled. It'll give you the scheduled date, when it's going to be executed, and the status of it, if it's been sent or not. If you want to edit any of those things, you would hit the pencil and it'd be allowed to edit. And then also, if you want, you can clone, you can refresh the status, you can do all these things. You can archive, delete, whatever you're looking for. You can also create a folder to help organize things. So this will let you do it. Sometimes you'll see that this kind of goes in the spin, so we can like refresh the screen, and a lot of times I'll clean that up. So you can see now it says This is when I scheduled it. This is when it's going to happen. So it's real easy to see. It's just right there in front of your face. And it's been scheduled. Once it's been sent, it'll actually say sent on here. It won't just say scheduled. So you guys all received notice this morning about this event today. That was all done using this, basically the same exact system. Okay, so this is how you do like an e-blast. Now, as you'll recall, we teach that I know a lot of you have had other CRMs you've been using and things like that. We do not encourage you to just put everybody into this market report and start sending immediately. We do establish your email sending reputation. And so we do that with response, meaning that people request information or people that are highly likely to actually respond to your emails, like that might be your circle of influence or that sort of person. Okay, so do we all understand e-blasts? Just go ahead and put a 1 in if you understand the concept. Okay, excellent. So, if are there any more questions you'd like me to cover during this session? Anything else on email? Are you talking about an email blast or some other concept, Shane? Oh, signature for email. No problem. Let's go ahead and cover that. So the signature you can use on the emails is something that happens per user, or in this case, per staff. So the way we get to that is we go down to settings, pull down the email menu. Okay, actually, let me go ahead and do that first. Pull down the email menu. You mean this one where it shows campaigns and templates? So the way we get to this is we go from marketing, and then you'll see across the top that's social planner, emails, templates, trigger links, affiliate manager. We'll get into some of this other stuff later. But okay, good. So from here, we just go to campaigns, or we can create templates. If you want to sit down and create several templates, you could. And then as we saw, whenever we started a new campaign, it gave us some options to which one we would use. So, and then actually what I would do in the future is with this email report thing here, if you're liking how this looked, then you can just go here and hit clone, and it'll create a copy, and then you can create the copy and then do the date as the delineator. So email signatures are done per staff member. So what we do is we go to settings, and then from here we go to my staff, and then we pick the user if it's you or somebody else. We edit. You'll see down here under user info, I believe that's where it is, we have our email signature. Okay. So as the admin for your individual accounts, you can go in and add a standard email signature to everybody, which means that every email that comes out from each user will have this email signature, or it can be completely unique. Enable signature on all outgoing messages basically means that every single email that leaves will have that signature, including if they're coming from a campaign or from a workflow. So as long as that user has been assigned, their signature will show up in the bottom of the screen. Okay. The other thing that we always encourage you to do is include the quote text and replies. That just makes sense because if you put it underneath everything, that's usually just hard to read or hard to even get to or see. This way it's showing up above the reply. And you can design up in here anything you want. There's an option for images, like I can insert an image, and then let's see, upload. We can browse for an image. I can just go ahead and pull in. Oh no, let's not use that. Oops. Okay. So I can go ahead and upload an image here and then hit OK, and then see this image actually shows up within the box. Or the other option we have here is links. We have a full WYSIWYG editor, which means that you can put in bullet points, you can put in numbered lists, you can do anything that you want to in here, change the size, change the justification, and you're going to be able to do that. Now, what I did here is I actually created a Meet with Me link down here that is for people to book appointments with me, and then I can just insert the link from the calendar that will then allow me to, or allow people to hit this, and then they can go ahead and schedule an appointment with me, which is something we'd encourage you to put into there. Then when you're done with the signature, which again is underneath the user info, you also can do something where you select the calendar, booking request, booking anyway, so you can select the calendar entry also. But anyway, just go down here to save. And then from that point on, any emails that come out will have that signature down below. Okay, does that make sense? Okay. So I thank you all for attending. Again, this is designed so if you have questions or things like that, feel free to bring them with you. Also, if you need further support, please reach out to us through your membership area. And you all have a great week. If there's anything we can do to help you crush your goals this year, please let us know. This is definitely designed with the user in mind and to make this the best system that we can possibly make it. So thank you very much, and we will talk to you all soon. Take care. Bye for now.